what has happened with IndusInd Bank in the last 24 hours is very, very important. Can this really be cooled off and covered up with a few statements from the promoter, from the MD CEO saying all is well, nothing to look here, please, carry on, it's business as usual. And that's exactly what we're asking. Vishwanath Nair joining us, and our banking editor. Vishy, you have been speaking to all stakeholders in this story. We've been getting into the depths of it. And to be fair, we have requested the management to come and speak to us. We've requested the promoters to speak to us. They asked us, what questions will you ask? We've sent it to them. They don't want to answer it, so then let's put it to our viewers as well. This is what we aim to ask IndusInd Bank if they come, because these are the questions that really need to be answered.
That's right, Tamana. So 7 key questions, right? So, and it's very easy to just wave your hand and say that, oh, this is not really relevant, but the fact is that it is, and you're seeing that in the stock. You've seen how people have reacted to the clarifications that the bank has provided. That is because the clarifications actually leave too many questions unanswered. The first of which is this so-called internal leg of the transaction of the foreign currency borrowing conversions. Why were they not marked to market all through the entire period that you were holding them? According to the bank, this is common practice, and then it converges later on by the end of that contract, but that does not make sense, because that is the core of any accounting practice. The second question, and before that I just want to show a quote that is being displayed on the screen right now. The bank's annual report very clearly says that we are required to mark to market this swap cost. This is something that is a specified practice. And if that is the case, if that was required to do by the bank, why did they not do it? And if they are claiming that they did do it, then what is the reason behind such a big sort of hit on the balance sheet to 1,500, 2,000 crore, very wide range of numbers? But there seems to be no explanation why, if you were following the practices, why you still have to account for such a large gap on your balance sheet. The third question is, what were the internal and external auditors actually doing in this entire process? These auditors have to regularly look at the bank's existing portfolio, their positions, and then account for them. This is common accounting practice that is followed by all banks in the ecosystem. IndusInd Bank somehow has missed this entire 2,000 crore gap. I was talking to one of the bankers who said that the 4th decimal point in a number was actually throwing off the balance sheet by about 3 odd crores, and the entire accounting had to stop to try and figure out how this happened. This is the story of a foreign bank that is currently working in India. How is it that 2,000 crore goes unnoticed by all of these auditors? The fourth important question then is whether the bank was misstating its treasury and trading income as part of its quarterly results announcements. Because if you were over accounting for numbers in the past and now you have to adjust for that, that means that the previous numbers all will have to be restated. At least for the 3 quarters of this financial year, they will have to be restated. The fifth important question then is, if the so-called RBI guidelines were coming in effect from April 2024, the bank has gone out and found out these gaps only in October of 2024. For 6 months, you had no idea that this guideline exists, and I am not in compliance with those guidelines. Then the sixth question that we want to ask the management is whether the regulator in its communication is making it clear that the CEO of the bank has to go and a new CEO has to be appointed. Now, the CEO is saying that I was just placing some conjecture into reading into how the RBI is thinking, and I believe that the RBI is uncomfortable with me. But I don't believe that the RBI communicates this way. It tells you exactly what it needs. Yeah. And the last question here is whether the RBI will have to tighten processes across the banking system, specifically IndusInd Bank.
Yeah, but that question then to the RBI. Yeah. Question to IndusInd Bank is, how did you not know? Another question that I want to add is what Harsh has got to the fore. It has come to light that IndusInd Bank's CEO and deputy CEO sold 80% of their own holdings near the peak. Considering the admission of accounting discrepancies that came in recently, this stake sale raises many questions. Harsh, give us more details.
So, Tamanna, they've sold this right at the peak in June of 2024. Mind you, this is at a time when IndusInd Bank has come out as part of its Q1 FY25 numbers and suggested a slowdown in microfinance. They've called it and they've said that there will be a recovery starting Q2. But Q2 the asset quality cycle just got worse. So the timing of this is just extremely questionable because they've sold at the 52-week high and or near the 52-week high. The 52-week high was at 1,567 rupees a share. The CEO, Sumant Katpalia, sold 80% of his holding, which, by the way, was given to him in ESOPs at 518 rupees per share. So he's made quite a large number in terms of profit on this one. He sold 28 crore worth of shares. His annual compensation is roughly 7.5 crore. And the deputy CEO has sold 32 crore worth of shares at 1,499 rupees a piece. And his annual compensation is 5 crore rupees. And therefore, they've made significantly large numbers in terms of amounts from these share sales near peaks. And that's where the big question comes in.
A lot of food for thought here, and especially why the two top guys were selling at their peak, then in hindsight saying we didn't know this was happening. Something doesn't fit right here. Once again, we welcome IndusInd Bank. Come and speak to us. We want these questions answered. We want transparency from your side. We want to give you a fair chance to answer all of our questions. We hope you do that. We'll take a very short break. We're coming right back with the pre-open rates. Stay tuned.